Welcome back to the official channel of Lightway Research and Technology Center. In this video, I will show you how to perform post-estimation tests and how to interpret your results. In our previous videos on quantile regression, we have demonstrated how to estimate a quantile regression model. Also, we have shown you guys how to interpret the results. The last video was on how to perform slope equality test and how to interpret the results. So in this particular video, I'm going to show you how to do or how to perform a quantile symmetric test. Please, if you are coming across that video for the first time, kindly take a few seconds to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share with your colleagues. So now let us take a look at the null hypothesis. We are going to look at the symmetric quantile test. Then what are the things that you need to take notes first? One is the null hypothesis as well as the decision rule. The null hypothesis states that the distribution is symmetric, while the alternate hypothesis states that the distribution is asymmetric. So now you reject the null hypothesis and conclude that the independent variable have asymmetric or heterogeneous effects on the dependent variable across quantile values if the probability value is less than 5%. But if the probability value is greater than 5%, you cannot reject the null hypothesis, which is fine. Our aim here is not to reject the null hypothesis. Our goal is to fail to reject the null hypothesis because we are after symmetric, not asymmetric. So if the probability value is greater than 5%, then you fail to reject the null hypothesis and conclude that the quantile effects are the same. So irrespective of the quantile you are looking at, the impact of the independent variable will remain. That is, the impact of the independent variable on the dependent variable will remain. In other words, once you reject, that means there is not enough evidence to conclude that the effects are not what? Are not symmetric. The effects are symmetric. Please take note of this. A significant result from the symmetric quantile test indicates that a standard quantile regression analysis might not capture the potential heterogeneity in the relationship between variables across different parts of the distribution, and this justifies the use of a more flexible model that can account for the asymmetry. So when your result is significant, you are going to reject the null hypothesis, and what you are simply saying is that the distribution is what? Is asymmetric. And when the distribution is asymmetric, the standard quantile regression model is not the best. You have to look for a more flexible model to analyze your data. Let us look at how to perform symmetric quantile test and how to interpret the results. We are still going to use our model. So for the sake of those that are coming across this video for the first time, let me go back to the model specification. Here we have our dependent variable, which is maternal mortality rate, and we have two independent variables. The first one is government expenditure on health, and the second one is urbanization. So to estimate this model, you have to select the dependent variable first, then the independent variable 1, 2. Right click and open as equation. Then here you come to method and select quantile regression. So once you have this, you can just retain the quantiles to estimate, which is 0.5. This 0.5 is the median. Then you click OK. You have your results. This is your results. If you want to check for the post estimation test of these results, you just go to view, quantile process, then you select the one you want to use. But in this video, we are going to look at 10 quantiles. So you go back to view, quantile process, process coefficients, then you select what? 10. If you want to increase it to 11, 12, or 13, you can just change it. But the most important thing is that your post estimation test must be done on your actual results. The results that you present in your paper must be used for your post estimation test. So if you are going to present 10 quantiles, you use 10. If you want to present just 1 or 2 quantiles, you use 1 or 2. Yeah. But in this video, we are going to use 10 quantiles. Then you click OK. Once you click on that OK, you have this result. You go back to view, quantile process, then you select Symmetric Quantiles Test. Once you click on it, here you can see 4. You change it to 10 because our result is 10. You change it to 10, then you click OK. So once you click on this OK, you have your results. This is the test summary, and this as the individual test. If you look at the test summary, we have our word test statistics, and the probability value is greater than 5%. And if you look at this place, you will see that all the probability values are greater than 5%. So now, what we need to do is to fail to reject our non-hypothesis. So we are going to retain the non-hypothesis. Then, how are you now going to interpret these results? Look at the interpretation here. The probability value of the symmetric quantile test what statistics is insignificant at 1%. You can see it is not significant at 1%, but let us make use of the conventional level, which is 5%. So you can just say that the probability value is not significant at 5%. Next, therefore, we failed to reject the non-hypothesis. What is the non-hypothesis? Let me just copy the non and the alternate hypothesis here. This is the non-hypothesis. So we fail to reject this non-hypothesis and concludes that the effects of government health expenditures and urbanization on maternal mortality are not symmetric across the quantile, since the non-hypothesis states that the distribution is symmetric. But here, the alternate hypothesis is saying that the distribution is asymmetric. So now, once we fail to reject the non-hypothesis, what we are simply saying is that the distribution are symmetric across the quantile. You can see we fail to reject the non-hypothesis, that is, the distribution is symmetric. So the interpretation is that the effects of government health expenditure and urbanization on mortality rates are symmetric across the quantile. This suggests that the quantile regression model captures the heterogeneity in the relationship between the independent and the dependent variables across different distribution paths. So that is how to interpret the results. And I told you here that what we are after is what? Is this symmetry. If the distribution is asymmetric, then it means that the standard quantile regression result is not suitable for the analysis. So once the probability value is greater than 5%, then you fail to reject the non-hypothesis and conclude that the impact is symmetric across the quantile, and once the impact is symmetric, it means that this particular quantile regression model is suitable for the analysis, which this last sentence indicates. This suggests that the quantile regression model captures the heterogeneity in the relationship between the independent and the dependent variable across different distribution paths. But if the probability is significant, that means it does not capture it. So once it does not capture it, you have to select a more or choose a more flexible method of analysis to analyze your data. So with this, we have come to the end of quantile regression analysis, particularly for time series model.